Hello, and welcome to the Antique Central podcast. My name is Mark Ray, and I will be your host for a series of podcasts all about antiques, vintage, and collectibles. Each month, we'll dive into a world of antique treasures, vintage gems, and irresistible collectibles. From discussing the antiques and vintage trade to exploring influential design movements and everything in between, we've got it covered. Whether you're a dealer, a seasoned collector, or just curious about the past, this monthly podcast series will have something for you. So grab a cup of tea, sit back and relax, and get ready to join me on a journey through time. Welcome to Antique Central. In our first podcast, we addressed the question, so how do I become an antique dealer? It's a question I'm often asked, and to be honest, there's no straightforward or simple answer. In this podcast, I'll do my best to walk you through how I achieved my ambition to work as a professional dealer in the cut and thrust world of the antiques and vintage business, and reveal how I acquired the knowledge to break into what is a crowded and competitive marketplace. For me personally, it didn't happen overnight. I had to work at it, and for some people it could take years. But the one thing I do know is, if you work hard, take on board good advice, and slowly learn to trust your instincts based on acquired knowledge, it's not an impossible ambition to realise. However, if you're not the kind of person who enjoys endless sourcing, researching, haggling, and accumulating knowledge based on good and bad life experiences, then a career in antiques might not be the right choice for you. Either way, it's worth bearing that in mind. And one final word of caution. Always remember, and this is really important, it's called the antiques business for a reason. And like any business, it can be ruthless, unforgiving, and it rarely takes prisoners. So before you embark on your journey to become a dealer, be prepared to grow a thick skin and to learn from your mistakes, which will most likely be often and probably costly to begin with. But don't get put off. Being scared to try never got anyone anywhere, and as a wise man once said, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So let's dive into the complex world of antiques and vintage and see if you've got what it takes to become a full-time dealer. By definition, antique dealers are professionals in their field who specialise in buying and selling rare and valuable items with historical and cultural significance and value. They operate in a challenging and ever-changing market, which requires a combination of knowledge, experience and business acumen to succeed. In this podcast, we'll explore the life of an antique dealer in the current economic climate, focusing on buying and selling both at antique markets and online, and discuss the importance of accrued knowledge and experience gained in the industry. As with any professional career, knowledge is key to success in the antiques industry. Antique dealers need to have a deep understanding of the items they deal with, including their history, value and provenance. They also need to be aware of current market trends and understand supply and demand, as well as being able to recognise both the authenticity and condition of the items they buy and sell. There are several ways that antique dealers can acquire the knowledge they need to succeed in the industry. One way is through formal education and training. Many universities and colleges offer courses in the antique and decorative arts, which cover topics such as art history, antiques appraisal, conservation and restoration. These courses can provide a solid foundation of knowledge and skills that can be directly applied in the field. Another way to acquire knowledge is through practical experience, and this is how I started. Many antique dealers start their careers as collectors or enthusiasts, attending auctions, visiting antique shops and browsing online marketplaces to learn about different types of antiques and their value. As you gain experience, you develop an eye for quality and authenticity, and you learn how to identify and evaluate items based on their condition, provenance and rarity. This is the first step in becoming an antiques dealer, and I'm afraid there are no shortcuts in this highly competitive world. Networking and building relationships with other industry professionals is also important for acquiring knowledge and staying up to date with market trends and opportunities. Attending trade shows, conferences and exhibitions can provide opportunities to meet other dealers, collectors and experts, exchange ideas and information, and learn about new and emerging trends in the market. Experience is also essential for you to succeed in the antique industry. As you gain experience, you will develop an instinct for buying your stock at a good price and, most importantly, selling it for a good profit. At the end of the day, all dealers have to convert their investments into profit, and if you can't do that, you will soon go out of business. Building up your experience involves not only an understanding of the value and current market demand for different types of antiques, but also a knowledge of how to negotiate and close deals, how to market and promote your inventory, and how to manage your business operations effectively. Good dealers know how to build relationships with customers and maintain a loyal customer base. They understand that customer satisfaction is key to building a successful business, and they strive to provide excellent service and value to their customers. They also know how to adapt to changing market conditions and adjust their inventory and pricing strategies accordingly. But be advised, in the current economic climate, the antiques market is facing several challenges. The rise of online marketplaces has made it easier for buyers and sellers to connect, but it has also increased competition and put pressure on traditional bricks and mortar antique shops and markets. To succeed in this challenging market, antique dealers need to be adaptable and innovative. You will need to embrace online selling and marketing strategies to reach a wider audience, while also maintaining a strong presence in traditional markets and shows. You will also need to specialise in niche areas to differentiate yourself from the competition and to build a loyal customer base. As a dealer myself, I am increasingly becoming known for dealing in woodenware and metalware, and I'm often referred to as the Metal Man by both traders and the public who recognise me when I am out and about at the markets and fairs. So, being an antique dealer requires a combination of knowledge, experience and business acumen. Formal education and training, practical experience, networking and building relationships with customers are all important for success in the industry. Good dealers develop an instinct for buying at the right price and selling for a healthy profit, and they know how to adapt to changing market conditions and customer preferences. Despite the challenges facing the industry, there will always be a demand for rare and valuable items with historical and cultural significance. And for those with a passion for the trade, pursuing a career in antique dealing can be a fulfilling and rewarding career path. However, it is important to note that the antiques industry can be unpredictable and requires a significant investment of time, money and effort. Therefore, I always recommend that if you are interested in pursuing a career in antiques dealing, take the time to educate yourself and gain practical experience in the field before making a significant financial commitment. It is also important to develop a clear business plan and strategy for success, including identifying a niche area of specialisation, building a strong network of experienced industry professional contacts, and establishing a strong online and real-world offline presence. In addition, it is crucial for you to stay up to date with the latest market trends and developments, including changes in demand, pricing and customer preferences. Personally, I have certainly experienced the frustration of getting out of an on-vogue trend too late, only to be left with a storeroom full of identical products that nobody wants. I can't emphasise enough how important it is to study the market and stay one step ahead of your direct competitors and even your potential customers. You definitely don't want to be that person having to sell off all your stock for nothing at auction because it's no longer fashionable. Avoiding making this mistake can be achieved through ongoing education, attending industry events and conferences, and networking with other professionals in the field. In other words, keeping your ear to the ground. It sounds easy, but you can't afford to miss a trick in this game, trust me. As a rule, my advice to anyone interested in pursuing a career as an antiques dealer is to stop and think before you commit. In the current economic climate, I would not advise anyone to give up a full-time job with a regular PAYE monthly income without dipping your toe in the water first. The antiques trade is always unpredictable and has its ups and downs, so now is not the time, in my opinion, to give up a secure job for an unpredictable future in the antiques trade without trying it first to see if you enjoy the daily grind and have the mental and physical stamina. In this respect, I recommend you start your journey by first running a part-time antiques business alongside your full-time job. That way you give yourself time to weigh up the advantages and disadvantages and the pros and cons of going full-time. Unless you have sufficient money in the bank to live on, the most important question you have to ask yourself is, can I generate a sufficient turnover in order to pay my bills and support myself and my family? If the answer is no, then this is probably not the career for you, at least not until you have sufficient funds in the bank. Having said all that, if you did your homework and you have made the leap, your part-time business is flourishing and you have developed a viable business plan for the future, then there are definitely worse ways to earn a living. However, as I always say, be careful what you wish for. In conclusion, the life of an antique dealer in the current economic climate requires a combination of courage, knowledge, experience and adaptability. While the industry is facing several challenges, including the rise of the online marketplace, there will always be demand for rare and valuable items with historical and cultural significance and value. And there will always be buyers for those items out there. But don't expect those buyers to be forming a queue at your door. You will need to decide on how you access those buyers. Will it be by selling online, attending antique fairs, or by opening your own bricks and mortar antique shop? In my experience, you maximise your sales opportunities by exploiting all three of those available selling platforms. Time will tell which platform you enjoy most and so put the effort into. Personally, I found running an antique shop too claustrophobic and restrictive, so I opted for selling online and at markets and fairs. But everyone is different and you will soon work out what you are best suited to. Pursuing a career in antique dealing can be a fulfilling and rewarding career path for those with a passion for the trade, but it requires a significant investment of time, money and effort. If you acquire the necessary knowledge, develop practical experience and stay up to date with the latest market trends, it is possible to succeed as an antique dealer in this challenging and exciting industry. Finally, by working hard, being committed and investing your time and energy in a business you have a passion for, there is always the chance you can realise your dream to become an antiques dealer, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. If you've enjoyed listening to this month's podcast, or if you have a question or any feedback about any aspect of the podcast, please leave your comments below and I will do my very best to get back to you with a response. Thank you for listening and I look forward to joining you next time. Bye for now.